it should be known by everyone in the saxophone community that 𝗪𝗲 is one of the most popular brands out there. They make all of them, they have different kind of levels and everything, but there are some alternative options out there, and I wanted to go over it. So today we're going to be comparing the 𝗪𝗲 USA 411C in the copper finish with the AS5200 from Antigua Winds. Check it out. Hi everybody, my name's Andrew King and we are here at 𝗪𝗲Music. Don't forget to visit us at our website, 𝗪𝗲music.com, where we have both of these instruments for purchase and for your perusing. So today I wanted to talk about some alternatives to the bigger brands. We're going to be doing a comparison between the SAS411C, which we've done before, and we're going to be looking at the AS5200. It is going to be in a vintage lacquer, so it's going to be a little bit of a darker finish, just like the SAS411C. Both are kind of alternatives to the normal golden lacquer, so these are going to be kind of those kind of off-kilter ones that look cool, but honestly just play great. I got to sit down with both of them, go through them over a weekend, and they play great. But there are some key differences that I want to go through and I want to talk about as well. So it should be no surprise that the industry has a bunch of different avenues for creating and making their saxophones. 𝗪𝗲 is mostly known for their 𝗪𝗲 Paris line, making things like the Super Balance Action, the Mark6 of course, and everything up from the Super Action 80 to the Supreme. There are tons of different instruments out there, but there is going to be one called the intermediate level. The intermediate level is between the student and the professional, and it's basically one of those horns that are great for adults when you get into like a community band, in sixth graders or high schoolers that are wanting to have that next horn to just be able to play at a higher level. There's tons of reasons to get one, and they come at a good cost to compare to their professional leveled instruments where they can go up to like $3,500 and up. These tend to hover around the $2,500 to $3,200 range. Now, as far as these go, they are both going to be made in Taiwan. The 𝗪𝗲 USA line, for pretty much the large majority of their instruments, are going to be made in Taiwan through different factories over there. No detriment to the instruments. They still play great. They're even across the board. The SAS411C, in my opinion, is one of their best horns out there, purely because you were able to blow through it so good. I think that the airflow, the bore on the neck allows for a certain level of playability that lets you play a very high up while playing very low down without many problems. The key shapes across the board and the ergonomics of the instrument fit very well into my hand. On the right hand, I do believe that's a little small for my opinion. They're a little more spread out than what I'm used to. But that is also because I'm playing on a weirder instrument as far as that. I usually play on a YS61, so it's a little different. The other instrument that we're going to be looking at is the AS5200 from Antigua Winds. Antigua Winds is a saxophone company based out of Taiwan. They have a warehouse here in San Antonio, Texas, and we are also the distributor for that company, just to be fully transparent with that. But the big cool thing about them is that they make a lot of really cool specialized horns for certain situations. They're very known for their Power Bell series, the Power Bell being a very good jazz horn. And we've done a comparison between the AS5200 and going back and forth with a Power Bell saxophone. Both of them are going to be pretty much in that intermediate line, just more specialized for certain things than others. The AS5200 is definitely more of a classical instrument. It gives a much more focused tone in my opinion. The playability of it is very good across the board, and because of the lacquer, it looks really nice and that nice dark finish, and very reminiscent of what's happening now with the Yamaha lacquer going for the amber finish. The darker vintage looks that a lot of the more modern horns go, and they're very reminiscent of the Mark6s, where it had that very nice dark, like honey, amber kind of look. Very nice. The cool thing about the AS5200, in my opinion, is going to be the playability across the board as far as the low end. The low end is not nearly as stuffy as usually the intermediate instruments are going to go, especially when you play down a closed note like a low D or a middle D. Those notes come out extremely powerful, and that really gives it that push that a lot of these intermediate instruments need. A big difference between going from intermediate to a professional level instrument is going to be the neck. The neck is usually going to have a certain bore size on a professional instrument that allows you to blow through more air. and you don't hit a wall. So what ends up happening is, like on student level instruments and intermediate level instruments, what will end up happening is they kind of hit a wall at a certain air level. So what you want out of those is to have that full sound come out, so you blow as much air as you can get, but the neck doesn't really allow for that. The cool thing about the AS5200, in my opinion, when I was playing it, is that it flew straight through. It was very easy instrument to play, so very free blowing, not a lot of resistance. It's very reminiscent of different kind of Japanese made instruments such as Yamaha professionals, or even very reminiscent of like 𝗪𝗓𝗪 neck styles. Gives a very nice feel to it. I do think that on the left hand with the palm keys, it's a little spread out than what I like. The Selmer USA model, the 411C, is very nice on the left hand, while on the 5200, I do believe that the high F key is a little low for what I'm used to, or what I'm particularly looking for when I want to have my hands and fingers comfortably on the keys. But it's not too big of a deal. You can usually get some palm risers or any of those rubber stoppers that you can put on there. Personally, like on my 𝗪𝗓𝗪 880, what I'll do is I'll put like a cork. I got my repair tech to put a cork on the keys so it rises them a little bit, and it lasts forever. I've been using that for 15 years. So talk to your tech about that kind of stuff if you want to make any kind of modifications to the horn. So let's go ahead and listen to both the instruments and tell me what you think. what did you guys think? I really enjoyed playing them. Intermediate instruments are one of my fascinations with this industry. Student level instruments, they're pretty much made to kind of be beaten. They have really good bodies. The instruments are made for children and whatnot, but they do really well over the long run. While the professional instruments, they kind of have very fragile metal to them, and they're meant to be taken care of for sure. But you can't really use them as like a workhorse like you can the student models. And the intermediate kind of hits that nice little sweet spot of having nice durable metal versus having the extra parts that you need, such as like high F sharp keys, which most student models have nowadays. But it's something that's kind of more of a commodity to the intermediates. I do want to say, like, when we're talking about comparisons between instruments, of course, is that the sound is definitely going to be coming from the person themselves. So, like, for me, I'm playing on a 𝗪𝗏 with a 3S reed from D'Addario Jazz Select, and the ligature doesn't matter as much, but it's a Van Doren Optima ligature. So that's what I use for my setup on alto. But it is very important to state that, because when you compare two instruments, what I'm looking for is not really a lot of the sound color, or looking for more of the tonal aspects between the two instruments, because there's tiny little things like on the high end to the low end. There's some differences there. I do like the low end on the 5200 more than I like it on the 411C, but the 411C sings so much on the top end that it's really nice, and I think it's a great kind of answer to a young person looking for a decent jazz horn at a lower cost, especially if you're looking like brand new, right? But that being said, the other thing that I'm looking for is more practical things along the lines of playability, intonation. I'm looking for key sets that are ergonomic to the hand positions. I'm looking for things where I don't have to spread my hand out as much, and I feel like the 5200 is really nice on the hands. There's a lot of thought put into it, and while the 411C has some of those things, especially on the front keys, I do think that the pinky keys, such as the low C, the G sharp table, and the E flat key on the bottom, those tend to be a little more spread out than what I'm looking for, or I would recommend this horn to, right? I'm usually going to recommend these kind of instruments to younger players, so hand size might be an issue. Of course, that's something you can get used to over a long period of time, and these instruments are meant to be used over a long period of time as well, but you're going to be spending a lot of money right up front, so you kind of want to have something that will be good right out the gate more than anything. So you want to feel good with the purchase you made. Well, thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to get into the comments and let me know what your instrument of choice is. Is it the AS5200 from Antigua 𝗫, or did you like the 411C from 𝗪𝗏, USA? Thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful day.